Excellent. Welcome to another episode, guys, of the Entrepreneur Speaker Series. Is yet again a phenomenal Thursday. And I'm so excited because today we have an extraordinary entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur today. We had so many male guests over the past weeks, so I love to switch it up a little bit. And today we have Isabel Donadio Vegan. I hope I pronounce your name correctly.
Yes.
But let me give you a quick introduction, guys, because Isabel is in a very special industry. And I think this is going to be very, very interesting to talk about because the road and the journey of entrepreneurship, it's telling a lot of stories. And Isabel found a way to actually turn this into a business model and then helping so many others to package that story and actually publish books or teach them how to speak. So today we're going to dive into the speaker and publishing space. And this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. So Isabel, thank you so much for coming on the show. And we're very honored to have you. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Rob. I'm excited to be here and being able to share what I know and what I've experienced with your audience.
Perfect. And so we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the audience that are currently in business. We have people that are actually looking to start a business. And some people, they have been laid off, unfortunately, through the pandemic. And they're currently thinking about how to capture and package their passions, right? And I think we all heard it like, okay, you have to follow your passions, because if you follow your passions, you don't have to work a day in your life again, right? I think we all heard the saying. Now, I'm a big believer that that is absolutely true. However, it comes with time and experiences, right? There need to be some business acumen in order to turn that into a process that actually works. Now, before we dive into entrepreneurship, Isabel, I know that that's not where you started, right? That applies to all of us. That's certainly not where you started. So can we take you back? With your approval, can we take you back to memory lane and talk to us about years ago and how you shifted towards entrepreneurship? What did you do before you were the entrepreneur that you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to share some quick oversight of what I do now is I am the business owner of Talent Support Services and Speaker House Publishing, two phenomenal businesses that have been thriving, actually. But where I began, I was the makeup artist on the TV show, The Hollywood Entrepreneur. I had a business that dealt with doing people's hair and makeup as a profession. That's where I initially began.
Wow. And is that something that you studied for? Like, did you go to college in this direction? Or, yeah? Can you talk to us a little bit about that process and how did you land at that job?
Yes. So I was in college part-time, but I also went to a specific academy where I had to learn how to do makeup and hair. So I was doing both of those things. And how I stumbled upon the job at the Hollywood Entrepreneur was that a good friend of mine heard that there was a spot opening. So I came out, I kind of auditioned, kind of showed them my skill set. And that there were a couple of other people, but because I had such a great connection immediately with the host of the show, the co-hosts of the show, and also the people behind the scenes, it kind of just helped build that bridge right away. And so that's how I initially got that job, was just because of my skill set and how personable I was with the individuals there. And from there, I did photo shoots. I helped people with their get ready for book covers, for magazine photo shoots. And so I kind of had those side jobs. But eventually, when the show went on hiatus, I kept in touch with the people from that show. And they had events going on that were live. This was way before COVID was ever on anybody's radar.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn more, because what I saw of the people that came onto the show was that they had so much experience, but what came with that experience was that they wore so many hats. They had these amazing teams that they built around themselves, but they struggled to let them in. When you have so much on your plate, you're just stacking and stacking and stacking. But what occurs there is the same thing as when you're trying to spin discs on a plate. You have you have two going and you can kind of manage it, but when you have 5, 7, 10 sticks going with 10 plates spinning at high speed, some of them are going to drop. And that's what I was noticing with a lot of their projects, with all of the products that they were working on that weren't being put out into the world because they didn't let those individuals in that were on their team that they hired for that specific reason. And that's where I saw an opportunity to help them finish the project they start. And that was the initial idea that started talent support services.
So it sounds that you spotted an opportunity while you were actually building a career, right, in the beauty space, in the
Yes.
behind the scenes in the TV role, but mainly focused on the beauty space, and you spotted an opportunity. Now, would you consider yourself would did you consider yourself entrepreneurial, or were you focused on building a long-term career on this track?
Initially, I just wanted to build a career, and it was a scary transition. I'm not going to lie about that. I was terrified leaving the being a makeup artist because that was consistent business for me. That was something that I knew I could do very, very well. So making that jump from being just a makeup artist to being someone on another person's team that they relied on, that they looked to have answers and understanding how to resolve situations was a scary transition. But I did not see myself as an entrepreneur at the time. I didn't even fully understand what that word meant, not just
Mhm.
by textbook definition, but the feeling of saying I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
I didn't fully identify myself as that until I realized that people around me were entrepreneurs as well. And I realized I'm one of them. You have
yeah.
to be innovative. You have to be willing to go out on a limb, but know that you are educated and experienced enough and you're hungry enough to keep pursuing that goal.
I love that you said that because I can personally relate to that. As a from a young age, I was creative, inventive, adventurous. I didn't know, just like you just described, I didn't know what entrepreneurship meant, but I knew that I was meant to do something else than just sitting behind a cubicle and corporate America, and then just building somebody else's dreams, right? Just following the
Mm-hmm.
classic textbook example. So it's very interesting if you have that gut feeling that there's so much more that ultimately could lead to entrepreneurship as you're starting to understand what it involves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so can you talk to us about the opportunity? Because I feel that entrepreneurship, it's solving problems, right? The
Mm-hmm.
definition of entrepreneurship is solving problems. And you mentioned earlier that you saw an opportunity just by being in the space, just by
Mm-hmm.
working with all these people on a day-to-day basis. So how did you open your eyes to that opportunity?
How initially I recognized it in myself because when I was doing specific projects, I like to keep the cards to myself because I like to be self-reliant. I don't like to lean on other individuals. But I realized that that's not the best way to grow as an individual.
Mhm.
For if you're climbing Mount Everest, you have to have a team of people. That there's been a story that came out years ago of a man who tried to hike it on his own to the very top, and he had passed away mid-journey because he was not prepared. He did not have individuals who could help him carry the load that he needed to survive. But as a team, you're able to make it to the top and come back down all together. And as soon as I realized that in myself, it gave me a door and a window to seeing the other individuals that were around me. And I realized I'm not the only person dealing with this issue. And so to first recognize the needs of the people around you, you have to look inwards to yourself of what do you need and what do you see that is not being fulfilled for you to even have the answer to your own question of how do I succeed? And when you answer that question, you see that answer around you and these people also need that. How do I become the person to fill that niche, that specific need for them?
So would you say it's help yourself first before you
Mhm.
can serve others?
Yes, absolutely. You have to educate yourself also on what it is that you are trying to accomplish. So I did not own Speaker House Publishing overnight. I had to educate myself on the background systems to help with the book publishing process, with the bestseller process. So when I got my team together, I knew how to prepare them. I knew what they needed to know in order for us to all be successful. So I didn't have all the answers. I don't want to have all the answers, Rob. I really don't, because
Yeah.
I know there's so much knowledge out there in the world. So the more people you have on your team, the more you can rely on them and you can lean on them, and together you will grow and be successful.
Now, I think that we're all curious to know, like in the makeup world, right? When you are working on set, and you mentioned behind the scenes with the Hollywood Reporter, there's so many people involved, you know, in
Hmm.
your own space, and there's obviously people that take care of the clothing, the wardrobe, and there's so many
Hmm.
people running around. Did
Yep.
do you believe you got inspired because you mentioned teamwork, right? You mentioned building a team. Do you think that that was part of the space and environment that you were operating in, or did you have a fundamental belief that in order to grow and expand, you will need to have other qualified people to help you get there?
I believe that started when I was younger, when I initially realized the importance of a team. I played sports growing up, specifically softball. I played that for 5 years.
Hmm.
And if for any of you who have played a sport, Rob, I apologize. I don't know if you've played a sport,
I
but
did, yeah.
okay, you have perfect. So you fully understand what it means to lean on the individuals around you. You can't be the pitcher, but you also can't be the first baseman. You also can't be the person that's also in the backfield when the ball goes way out there. You also can't be the catcher. So you have to understand your specific role and where everybody else is at, and trust that they are hungry enough and experienced enough and have put in the hours to be there when it's their turn to step up and be in the spotlight to make that play and for the win. So when I was doing the Hollywood Entrepreneur, the host wasn't running the camera. The cameraman wasn't working with the soundboard. The person running the soundboard wasn't working on wardrobe. The person doing wardrobe wasn't necessarily the person that was helping make sure that everything was perfect on set. You have to diversify your team, because if everyone is like you on your team, then you're all going to focus on one central problem when there are so many other ways and so many avenues and niches for you to fill in order to all be successful and truly see growth.
So good, so good. And the reason why I'm diving into this, and I think that a lot of people can relate, a lot of beginning entrepreneurs, they used and they tend to believe that they can do everything themselves. And it's for several different reasons. And I'm sure you have heard this all before, Isabel, in your line of work. But it could be for budget reasons, right? Trying to
Mm-hmm.
serve investments and cost by trying to do everything themselves. Not being able to give up control because believing that I'm the only one that is
Mm-hmm.
qualified enough to execute the vision.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say, Isabel, to entrepreneurs that are currently still operating under those beliefs, right? If they want to truly scale, and maybe between now and the end of 2020, right, 2 more months to go, or let's say a month and a half before Christmas, what would you say could they change to kind of hit that next level just by letting go of some of that control and that need to
Mm-hmm.
always wanting to do everything yourself? What would you say to those people?
Yeah, and I believe it's a Zig Ziglar quote, but I may be wrong, so I apologize if I am. But you can do you can be anything, but you can't do everything. And that is truly important to the life of an entrepreneur. And what I would say to them as the best advice is choose your role model. Whether it's Tony Robbins, whether it's James Dentley, whether it's Les Brown, these are individuals that have a vision. These are individuals that have a message and a voice to go out to their people, their specific people. But the reason I'm saying this is because they're not running the soundboard. They're not the person that's marketing the event. They're not the person that is greeting every person that comes through the door. They're not making sure they have their seats. They're not making sure that they have their water, food, and they have their basic needs to survive. These individuals know who they are. And because they know who they are and they understand their limitations, they have people around them, whether it's a big team or a small team. You have to understand your limitations to truly be the most effective. For my book, and I'm going to bring it up right here,
Of
my
course, yeah.
book, Finishing is Happiness. 7 ways big idea entrepreneurs can become big business finishers. This became a bestseller, but and I'm going to share this with you guys right now. I didn't write a single word of my book. Not one word. I have a team that ghost wrote my book. I had a photographer take that picture. I have a designer that created that book cover. Now I did the bestseller campaign for it because because I'm knowledgeable in that, but
Yeah.
I can't do editing. I can't do formatting. I'm not a photographer, but because I have a great team around me, I made that a bestseller.
Beautiful.
So when you have a message, no matter how big or small your team is, even if you're a team of 2, 3, or 20, as long as you understand your own limitations, you see where the spots need to be filled and you find those people. You
Yeah.
find them and you make them a part of your family. Now, is something very, very important in the life of an entrepreneur. People will leave. People
Yeah.
will grow. They will be experienced, and you are giving them those experiences. But because they are growing as an individual, and you recognize this too when you're working for corporate America, when you were working for someone else's dream, when your dream is no longer their dream as well, they will leave. And that is okay because you know that you gave them the best knowledge. You gave them that ability. You gave them those chances to become who they have always wanted to be. So when those people leave, you need to recognize that and find someone else to fill that spot and start that process over again because
Beautiful.
your dream is never ending. Your dream does not sleep. The goals that you have for your clients are never ending. So people will leave, but you are always going to be there. So
Wow.
that's something else that you truly need to focus on as well. As you're building your team, that
Yeah.
it's going to constantly evolve. And that is the human experience.
I love that you said that, Isabel, and this is something that I can personally relate to a lot. I've founded many businesses over the years and currently operating 4 businesses. So you're always in the process and the evolution of building and recruiting a team around you, then building them up. And yes, people leave, right? But the question is, how do you respond when that
Mm-hmm.
happens, right? Is that
Yes.
something that you take personal and is this the ego that stands in the way? Like, how could you do that? Or is this like your time? Your time is up, right? The time that you had together is up, and you made an
Mm-hmm.
impact on the life of those people, of your team, of your staff, and it was time for them to move on. But
Mm-hmm.
there is so many other people that are seeking to have that same experience under your wings, and to me, that is a state of mind. That's a great quality of leadership, because too often I feel that people, they stay too close to the outcome. So if then somebody leaves, then they feel personally hurt, and I think that
Yes.
that's not the right approach to go about that. And with that said, we talked a little bit about influence and someone that you admire, right? You mentioned Tony Robbins earlier. So we got a question from the audience coming in, and they say, Isabel, we're so curious. Who is somebody that you admire? Somebody that maybe before or even up to today that you so admire and that you still follow for those amazing attributes that you admire? Do you have somebody in your life?
Yeah, and I love that question. And I'm going to be a little cliche, but I admire my husband, David Fagan, and I'm going to explain that. Before we ever started dating, before we ever really got involved in each other's lives in this personal way, our businesses worked together. They worked alongside each other. And I saw in him that he was a true leader. He was someone who saw everything that needed to be done, understood his limitations, built the team around him. And going back, people left, people came in, and I was one of those people that stepped in and became a new member of that team, with our business working alongside each other. And he's a phenomenal speaker. He's a great writer. But because he fully understood his limitations and what he can and can't do, that's where I was able to step in. That's where my company was able to step in. And obviously we are now married, but I still admire him to this day. He gets up at 5 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the morning, and he'll start writing emails. He'll start writing copy. He's now the creative director for my team. Where our companies are still working alongside each other, but he is playing a pivotal role as well in all of that. But when you are the owner of a business or you're working with somebody else, you are constantly trying to find ways to leverage what you know to be the most impactful for the people who are going to hear you. We now have an event that we do called the Top Talent JV Mastermind. This is an entirely free event that we do, but because of the content that we have, because we know the value of that event, we make no cost for it to be there for you to come. I mean, because the connections that you make are international. It's entirely online now because of the
Yeah.
state of the world at the moment. But
Beautiful.
I still continue to admire him because he is never ending giving up. I actually get upset with him because it'll be 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night and he'll still be going. I'm like, no, you need to shut off. You need to stop all that.
Yes.
But he's a constant goal getter. He makes the goal so big, it scares him and terrifies me. But if you're not afraid of your goal, then it's not big enough. And so, and
Beautiful.
so, and so, it's a little cliche that I admire my husband, but it's true. There are traits and qualities that he has that I don't.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm understanding of that. I can't do everything that he does, but that's what makes it such a great team.
Beautiful. And I think that opens a whole lot of new doors, Isabel, because now I'm curious if you believe, like, it seems that you are working together with your husband, and you have your individual businesses and you may do some projects together. So what
Mm-hmm.
is your definition of a work and relationship balance, right? Like, how do you deal with the relationship aspect of your marriage and then the professional side on being partners and maybe co-creators in your business?
So to truly make that relationship, that dynamic work, is constantly having conversations, and we kind of wear what we like to call hats. So right now, honey, I'm wearing the wife hat, I'm wearing the business owner hat, I'm wearing the perspective of a client hat. So when we have conversations, no matter how upsetting or how long they go, they don't impact our relationship in a negative way because we understand that we're talking from a different perspective. We're talking as a different individual. But we also set times where work is done, and that's around 10, 11, mainly because I'm asleep by that time.
Right, right.
But also truly setting times where it's just,
Transition.
yeah, having deep conversations. We have, deep conversations at least every other day, whether it's talking about work, talking about the kids, just talking about things that we want to try to do, goals that we have now that weren't the same that they were 6 months ago or a year
Mhm.
ago, because we're
Mhm.
constantly evolving creatures. And so it's always important to have those conversations, but also setting up the dynamic of, I'm talking as this person, I'm talking to you as that person, and having those differentiations is truly important to make a work relationship and a personal relationship work very well.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love the understanding that you're wearing different hats, and you have to understand that so you can transition. To me, transition from one thing to another has become so prominent and so important because your brain can only focus on one thing at the time. So you cannot, and like you kind of touched on that earlier on, you cannot do all these things and juggle those things around and expect the same outcome for each one. You have to do one thing at a time, and therefore, in a relationship, you have to have the transition, understanding that you're talking as a business partner, but there's also a time where you focus on the relationships. And I believe you mentioned you have children.
Yes, my husband has children. So when we got married, I call his kids my kids. They're I don't see any difference.
Yeah,
But yes, we do have kids together. Right now we have 4 children in the house.
4 children. Oh,
Yes.
wow. All right. So yeah. So I believe that the transition then to go from the business side to the marriage to being parents together, that becomes even more important.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. And Isabel, so today's focus was all about to do the things that you truly love, right? We touched on that a little earlier on when we were chatting backstage. Um,
Mhm.
Now, how important do you believe it is to build a business around your passions, about your true desires? How important do you think it is to operate a business, not just for the financial freedom, but for like adding your personality and your deepest desires and passions, and package your personality within that business. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the importance of owning a business with your passions first on an important scale of 1 to 10, I would say is an absolute 10. But something that beginner entrepreneurs need to understand, and it's okay. I'm going to say now, it's okay. You have my permission. You have the world's permission that if you're pursuing your goals and your dreams, if you are not able to financially keep going in that direction, it's okay to go back to a 9 to 5 job. It's okay to go back to corporate for a time period to get back to where you feel you need to be in order to go back into creating your business and your dream and your goals. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly okay. I know many entrepreneurs that have done this and go back to their business and it's thrived even more. It's flourished. So when you're going for your goals and your dreams, that's okay. But how important it is to have that vision of how you want to best help people around you is absolutely important because, and you said this earlier, Rob, and I'm going back to it, that when you are operating from your passions and your goals, you're not working. I have not worked a day in the last 5 years. I became an entrepreneur 5 years ago. I became the business owners 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now. But because I have been operating from my passions, from my goals, from my never-ending desire to see people succeed, I've never worked a day in my life in the last 5 years.
Beautiful. And do you believe, Isabel, that if you have a goal and a vision and a purpose, and if you discover that purpose and you are able to manifest that into your business, and like you mentioned, helping a lot of people, in this case your clients, right, getting them results, getting them to where they want to be, do you feel that it gives you this sense of satisfaction that allows you to get yourself up out of bed? And even though entrepreneurship, right, it can be very hard at times, and you know, you're having long days. You mentioned it. Your husband sometimes starts at 5 and continues to 11, 12, and you're having to balance the family side with that as well. So do you think that having a vision and a purpose will pull you forward when the business sometimes, you know, is a little bit challenging at times?
Yeah, and one thing I'm going to say about that is the law of the small wins. When the day before you didn't feel like you got a lot done, people are unhappy with you, focus on the law of the small wins. Getting up out of bed, making your bed, brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, drinking a bottle of water. Having those small wins is a mental checklist, and what that does is that it tells your brain, I'm happy about this. I'm checking things off my personal list. So when you get to work, you're checking your email, you are replying to emails, you are making phone calls, scheduling phone calls, having those phone calls. Those individual tasks are small wins. When you focus on the small wins, you are achieving the bigger goals.
Yeah, beautiful. So it comes to gratitude for the little things in life, even if it starts with making your bed, right? Coming back to take a little bathroom break, perhaps seeing that bed all made up, that is a small little win. That therefore it produces that endorphin, right, to make you feel good. Yeah, I agree, Isabel, because too often I think that entrepreneurs, they look at financial goals. They may want to replace their income. They may want to hit a certain income level to have a certain lifestyle. And if sometimes they're working for it for a couple of years and still not hitting those numbers. But I think the gap is too big, right? If you're looking at a level that you have never achieved before in your life, but you cannot be grateful for the little things in that process. I think that's where the disappointment lives, because it's a journey of gratitude for the little things that slowly builds up and brings you closer towards the big wins. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. And in the life of an entrepreneur, it's going to be a roller coaster ride. You're going to have wins, and then something bad happens. Someone's upset with you, and then it just brings it back down. And then you get a new client, but that they have 20 tasks and you already have 50 that you still have to complete and finish. And then you get those things done, you find more people. So it's a constant roller coaster ride of the relationship of the entrepreneur with their business. And it just comes with the territory of that. I apologize. I know you're not going to just wake up one day and your business is going to do fantastic and amazing. That's not the reality of the situation. It's going to be a struggle, and you're going to have to educate yourself and be prepared for those wins. But also, when those losses, they're not going to be as bad as you think they're going to be. You're going to look back on a mistake that you made 5 years ago, and you think it's hilarious now.
Yeah.
I'm going to share this with you guys,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a little embarrassing. So bear with me. But when I started evolving who I was, part of that transition was being an event producer. So when we were doing live events, I would negotiate contracts with the hotels. So when people would come in, everything would already be set up. And I did this multiple times. I think I helped with at least 30 events. So going through contracts and doing all those things. But one event that I did not read the fine print of bringing in your own AV system. And so at the end of the event, I was hit with a $700 bill that needed to be filled. And because it was under the company's name that I was working with, that I was helping, they had to fork that bill. And I was crushed. I was crying. I was embarrassed. It was the most humiliating thing that had occurred, but it was a growing experience. And I paid them back the money that my mistake had caused, and we were fine since. But you're gonna have moments like that. You're gonna trip. You're gonna fall. You're gonna make a mistake. You're gonna lose some money. But as long as you keep your vision in mind, as long as you understand that this moment is not going to haunt you for the rest of your life, although now I can look back on it and laugh.
Yeah,
it's not funny in the moment. But as long as you remember that your goal and your vision is bigger than the mistakes that you make, you're going to be okay.
Beautiful. And I think that there's a lot of people watching perhaps right now that can resonate with that, because 2020, right, has actually, the pandemic itself, I believe it just exposes the situations that were already going on, right? People that, we have heard the stories about people with underlying health issues, right? It just brought it to the surface. Or people that were going through certain stressful times, and maybe they didn't have all their thoughts in a row, and it just adds to the pressure, right? But I feel that if you have a strong vision and you can be grateful for the things that you already have in your life and the things that are around you, and you know that this is a marathon and certainly not a sprint, then allow your vision and purpose to pull you forward. And if you can be grateful in that process, then that is the best way, in my opinion, to be ready for the big rewards, whatever that may mean. You may not even understand what is just around the corner for you. You don't know what the definition of success, right? For everybody, it's a little bit different. But it starts with what you have today, and allow yourself to be pulled forward through a strong vision and desire to make something out of yourself, to be better than who you were yesterday.
Absolutely. The biggest competition you have is who you were yesterday, the day before, and a month ago. As long as you are constantly seeing personal growth, no matter what it is, whether you make a mistake, you have a win, those are experiences that are strengthening who you are. No matter what your relationship is with money, with the people around you, with the relationship with your business, that is something that is shaping who you are. It's constantly changing your vision, no matter to what degree it is. Whether you started going in one direction, you realized, oh wait, no, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. I'm gonna go over here now. As long as you are constantly hungry enough to keep growing as an individual, keep going through the evolutionary process, no matter whether you are, moving to another state, you're getting a new client, you're getting a business partner, you are constantly evolving. So as long as you're willing to go through those growth pains, whether you are having losses, whether you're having wins, your business will flourish under that.
Yeah. And Isabel, I want to switch gears a little bit, because right now in 2020, right, you found yourself at the point where your businesses are thriving, right? You're doing really well in your business. You have accomplished some major achievements. I believe you also have even received awards, like the Outstanding Rising Star Award. Can you talk to us a little bit about that process? Because You entered the journey of entrepreneurship only 5 years ago, and only 3 years ago did you become an official business owner. So
Mm-hmm.
what has happened in that process, and what made you rise so quickly to the top of the list for 30 under 30?
Thank you so much for reminding me of that, because that was such an amazing moment to receive that award. It was given to me by Roger Salam of the Winter Circle cruise that he did annually, and he held an award ceremony. But what made me the nominee and the winner of that award was the fact that I was constantly evolving myself as an individual, and because I was not afraid to grow and my business was able to grow, the clients that I had were seeing fantastic results. And so that's what made me the initial nominee. But what made me the winner was the fact that I was constantly not letting those wins be enough for me. I had to always look at the next thing, and I still do. No matter how great things are right now, I know they'll always be better. Now, going back, there will be losses, but the wins will always outweigh those negative feelings, those negative, interactions, experiences. And so that's what made me the winner of that award given to me by Roger Salam. And I truly didn't even know that I was going to be the winner. There were some other great candidates that were up as well. So it was truly an honor to be recognized for the accomplishments that I had made in my business and in my personal life. And it just kept pushing me forward, and it continues to push me forward. So whether you are a first-time entrepreneur, whether you are an experienced entrepreneur, or even a serial entrepreneur, you have a vision and goal. And something else too that I want to share that's truly important as well is understanding your story. You started with a dream because you had a need and you wanted to be able to fill that for the people around you. And that's where you're going to find your success at. Now, I'm going back a little bit because I'm not a ghostwriter, so I was not able to do my book. That's just something I'm just never going to truly be able to do. So when you see that there is a need out there, surround yourself with people who are able to truly help and support you with that. So the award that was given to me wasn't just for me, but it was for my team as well.
Beautiful. I loved how you involved and acknowledged your team here, because it's truly a team effort, especially running an enterprise at that level. It's never you and you alone, right? You may propel other people through your vision and lift them up, but it's certainly, like you touched on earlier, it's a team effort.
Yes.
And I got a lot of questions coming in, and especially about this topic of self-development, self-growth. And people are curious, Isabel, and I wonder if you would be able to touch on that a little bit. But people are actually curious what you currently do. You said you don't allow your success to be your teacher, right? Or to be your comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Rather, you reflect on the failures that allow you to push forward. So what do you currently do in your personal life? And these are some of the questions from the audience coming through. They're wondering, what are you doing to constantly develop yourself? Could you name some of the rituals perhaps that you do daily to constantly evolve yourself, to upgrade your thinking and your perspective?
Yes, absolutely. So some of the things that I do in my personal life to help me continually grow is I pray, I work out, and I read books written by other individuals. Those are just a few of the things that I do every day. And I want, but I want to explain why I do that.
Mm-hmm.
When you are praying, when you're meditating, prayer is asking for insight. It is because you have something that you know you want to be able to do, and you know you have a need for that insight. That's what prayer is. But meditation is receiving your answer. I focus on my exercise and my health because I know that's important in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
To truly be able to continually be there for my team, for my family, I have to also take care of myself. When you're on an airplane and they're talking about the air mask, they tell you to put yours on first before putting on somebody else's. You have to take care of you before you can truly be there for other individuals. Another saying is fill your cup first before you fill someone else's. And when I read the works of other individuals, I get more insight. When I first came into this industry, I didn't really understand what it was I was truly coming into. I just thought I was meeting some great people that had some success in their business. And so when I read other people's work, their experiences, their wins, their failures, it's something else that I can look back on. So when I am confronted with a situation that I haven't been in yet, I know I can rely on someone else's insight and their experience and how they reacted, and see how that applies to the situation that I'm in and being able to overcome that. And so by constantly doing those things, you are in the motion of self-growth. You're even if you're doing those things now, you are doing yourself a favor that you in a month, a year, 2 years, 10 years from now will be thankful for, because you're starting those habits now. And if you don't have any kind of habit like that now, if you don't know where to start, if you respond well to listening to books, do that. Get on Audible, get on any of these other great book platforms to be able to put your headphones in while you're working out, while you're doing the dishes, while you're just doing the things in your daily life. Those messages and those insights are being seeped into you, and they're going to become a part of who you are. And so that's just one way that you can get started in creating positive habits that future you will truly be thankful for.
Beautiful. And so that's something that you do before you start your business day. Is that something that you consider your personal time in the morning?
Yes, absolutely. When I first wake up in the morning, I'll start with a prayer, do a meditation. I'll work out for 30, 60 minutes, whatever I can really throw in there, just depending on how early I want to get up. While I'm running, while I'm on the treadmill, while I'm doing dishes, vacuuming, whatever, I'll listen to someone's book through my headphones. And once I'm done with all those things, I get ready for the day, and then I get to work. But by the time I start my work day, it's around 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Yeah, beautiful. And then, so I'm curious, do you have rituals in the evening, right? Because after, the business day is over, we talked a little bit about that transition back into, the role of a wife and a husband and also a parent. Is there anything in the evening that you do to perhaps to stimulate your brain even further, to prep yourself for the next day? Because in the end, I believe my definition of success is just being able to do things, small things, but consistently. So we're curious, is there something that you do in the evening as well to kind of make sure that you will be able to repeat that consistency the next day?
Yes, absolutely. So my nighttime routine is, taking off my makeup, washing my face, brushing my teeth, getting ready for bed. But other things I do as well is I go through my emails or my text messages one last time, and any appointments that I had agreed to do, I make sure and double check that they're in my calendar. But also, and this is something else, it's a very small detail that some people may miss on, but it's getting out your clothes for the next day. Whether it's your workout clothes or your day clothes, having that intention of being ready for the next day the night before, you're already ahead by so many hours. So when you wake up the next morning, you already know what your intentions were and you follow through on them.
Beautiful. So would you say that intentions, just inside your mind, setting the intention is such a critical part of the success throughout the day?
Yes, consistently having intentions and following through on those intentions is where you will see consistent growth, and you start creating positive habits for yourself.
Beautiful. Wow. Now, Isabel, as we're nearly to our end time here in this phenomenal episode, I wanna know. There's a lot of people here currently watching this that they got very curious about your business, because you are involved with all kinds of entrepreneurs and helping them, package their stories and helping them publish books, red carpet interviews, right? All of these things. How can people, if they want to follow you, if they want to dive into the work that you do, how can we find you on social media? How can people get connected with your work?
Yes, so you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on LinkedIn under Isabel Donadio. My name is right here. Yeah. So you're able to find me there. But something else too, just if you want to find more information about who I am and what it is that we truly do for our clients, our potential clients, is go to speakerhousepublishing.com. Also go to toptalentjv.com. There you'll find a lot of other information of what we do. But is it okay if I share my information if people want to contact me right now, Rob?
Absolutely, because I'm
Okay.
personally thinking that there might be people in the audience watching this that
Yes.
are thinking of publishing a book, or they may have some questions in how they can turn their story, this phenomenal journey, and to bring it into the world. So please go ahead.
Yes, so I'm going to give you all my Calendly link right now. But do me a favor and do the 15 or 30-minute option. I don't think we have a full hour just yet to truly be able to break down everything in your business. But I want to find your focus and find your goal. So I'm going to give you my Calendly link right now. It's calendly.com/TSS finisher. It's calendly.com/TSS finisher. That's for Talent Support Services,
Beautiful.
TSS finisher.
And we have our team here moderating the
Perfect.
conversation. So we will make sure that we get this out here into the chat. But are you saying, Isabel, that you are gonna be generous with your time and offering a 30-minute slot for people that
Yes.
are currently thinking about this or wanting to get some clarity around, what is possible for them in terms of publishing or public speaking?
Yes. I want to give you my time so we can clarify your message. We can identify your goals. And this is a crazy thing, but I'm a connector. I know other individuals. So even if what your goals and your wants are that I'm not able to fulfill and that my team cannot do for you, I know someone who will be able to help you get to that milestone that you're looking for. So please reach out to me. I want to talk with you. I want to be able to help you become the success you have always dreamed and even bypass that. Go beyond that.
That's
It's a big goal, and I want you to be terrified of it. So I want you to be terrified of how much I'm able to help you, but follow through. I love action takers.
That's amazing. Yeah. And go and take advantage of this, guys. I mean, I always so appreciative of our guests here on the show that are willing to contribute their time and to help you create some clarity, right? Because if there's only one thing, right, we both agreed on that. If there's one thing that people can take away that could potentially lead to that breakthrough that people have been working so hard towards. So I'm very, very appreciative of that gesture, Isabel. Now, I have one question for you, and I hope you can help us close out, right, the topic of today. But how important do you believe it is for anybody, especially the entrepreneurs among us in the audience, how important is it to have your book out there, right? To have your work, your journey, that process, right? Those thoughts and experiences that everybody has in their life. How important is it to package that work and make that available to share those lessons?
It's truly important to have a book, but having a book is not going to be the thing that's going to make you your money. A book is a tool for you to utilize to give people some insight to who you are and your knowledge. So when when they are ready to have those conversations, you're already at the forefront of their mind. They've read your book. They understand the direction that you go in. So when they get on the phone with you, they're already a potential client. It's just a matter of identifying truly what their needs are and where they're at currently in their business. So, but having a book is truly just the first step. And so, this is my book again. Finishing is Happiness. Again, I didn't write a single word of it. My team did, but all of these things are me. I was interviewed, and the interviews are transcribed and put into this book. So everything that you read in this book is me. It's my experiences. It's my wins. It's my failures. But it's used as a tool. So when someone reads it and they connect with me, I know that they are already in that headspace of, I want to work with Isabel. So having a book is just a great way to begin that. So, but thank you for asking that. It is such a pivotal question when you are at a certain level in your business, when you're ready to expand your team and bring someone else on to help you achieve your goals and your dreams.
And beyond that, I think it's something to be extremely proud of, right? Just to
Yes.
be able to hold a physical copy with packaged with your stories and your experiences, right? The journey through your eyes. That's just
Yes.
incredibly powerful. That's incredible, guys. I told you that this interview would be good. I really hope that you are feeling encouraged, guys. If you're looking to currently, take it to the next step and really step forward, right? Put yourself in the spotlight a little bit more, or actually to give people an opportunity on a much larger scale to get familiar with you and your work, then connect with Isabel, right? Connect with her on LinkedIn, on social media, follow her work, because I truly believe that she's in a phenomenal space and helping people to get their work out there. I truly enjoyed this interview today, Isabel, and I really admire you for all the successes that you had created in such a short amount of time. But I think it all comes down to the belief in yourself, to always want to innovate and grow, and then apply that journey into your business, right? Because in the end, the business is part of your personality. The business is you. So the more you can develop and grow, the better the results you can generate for other people. Now, with that said, Isabel, for the remaining of 2020, would you be able to help us close out and give your golden advice, something that comes to your mind that you maybe give to your clients, or something that you share in your communities? What would you say for the people currently thinking about starting that business, finally taking that leap of faith and start something of their own, right? Rather than to help somebody else build their dreams. What would you say to those people thinking about the journey of entrepreneurship?
When you're beginning the road of entrepreneurship, understanding your dream, that is truly something that as an entrepreneur, it differentiates you from somebody else. Whether you're almost in the same field, almost have identical businesses, what you're striving for is not what somebody else is particularly striving for. So when you understand who you are, the story of your life is truly what will help you differentiate yourself. So as you come into this space, you are coming into a home. We all are wanting to help each other, but how you help your clients is by first understanding your limitations, your growths, your strengths, but also the people around you. So surround yourself with winners. Surround yourself with people who are on the same road and have the same dream as you. Because when you do that, everything else is easy. Everything's a piece of cake.
Wow. Yeah, so powerful, Isabel. Thank you so much. So many powerful lessons in today's episode. Guys, there you have it. This was another phenomenal entrepreneur speaker series with some of the most talented, ambitious, and wonderful entrepreneurs here in the country. And I highly encourage you to stay connected to Isabel and follow her journey. And thank you so much, Isabel, for coming on the show. And hopefully, maybe we can do a reflection sometime in a couple of months, in maybe 2021, to see how we have finished this year strong. And I would love to hear some of these updates that you're going through, because I know that you're working hard and making changes and impact every single day. So hopefully, we'll have an opportunity to invite you back.
Oh, thank you so much, Rob, for having me here in the first place. And I would absolutely love to do that and to speak to your audience again. It's truly been an honor to be here, and I appreciate all the amazing questions that you have. You're a fantastic host.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. So hopefully this inspired you, encouraged you to go out there, make an impact. And if you enjoyed this show to here today, then leave us a comment, pay it forward, invite somebody that needs to hear this, right? Connect with Isabel, and otherwise tune in again next week, same time, same place, for another episode of the Entrepreneur Speaker Series. Thank you so much, Isabel. God bless, and I will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.